Hi, I'm Dan Schmitt. I do a weekly television show called Team Chicago Challenge. My email is teamdan45@gmail.com, and I got a big announcement to make. I have found someone, a new host for my website, so I can go back to doing my website on front page. So I haven't updated my website. Somewhere in the next 6 months from today, we're still in July, I'm going to start upgrading my website. So the Team Chicago website will finally be upgraded. So anyhow, teamchicago.tv. My email is teamdan45@gmail.com. I'm joined with my son Dan, his daughter Alyssa is joining me again, and we're going to continue on with the history in the 1990s, because there's some very important things happen in the 1990s, and we're going to try to cover that. And I've got great video footage probably to go along with everything from this part forward. And I've been blessed that I have these great granddaughters. I've been blessed I've been able to race all these years, and all the great friends I've made. And don't forget my email, teamdan45@gmail.com, and I always love hearing from my audience.
All right, so Gramps, I see you racing here at Road America. Can you tell me more about that?
There's two pictures there. One I'm road racing, and it could have been the same day, which I sort of take credit for. And I don't think anybody can deny it. I'm almost pretty sure it was me that instigated this. But Jeff Smith, who ran AHRMA, so these are AHRMA episodes. Jeff Smith, who ran AHRMA, which I think I explained last time, who was the 1964 World Championship motocrosser, came over to the USA. He was an Englishman. He raced for BSA. And he was involved with the creation of AHRMA. AHRMA is American Historic Racing Motorcycles Association. Basically, it's for anything built before 1974. When it came to motocross, it was anything that had less than 7 inches of travel in the front or 4 inches in back. So that was also 7.4. And with road racing, most of the bikes, but they sort of expanded it, and then they had the Battle of the Twins, and it was expanded. But when I was racing with AHRMA, it was basically anything built before 1974. And because of AHRMA, gave me a chance to take my Triumph out of storage, my dirt tracker. I got to race that. And then I got to ride a trials bike, and I also had a motocross bike. I started building it a 250 Yamaha MX. But I also picked up that TY 250 and rode trials. So that's a picture of me riding trials at Road America. And what I'm saying, I think I'm the one that instigated this. I may be pushing the limit a little bit here. But the idea of one of the first motocrosses at a road race course took place at Grattan Raceway, because I'm the one that took Jeff Smith over to the other side at Grattan Raceway and said, here's a perfect motocross. But they didn't have big jumps. It was mainly a scrambles event.
Yeah.
So at Road America, that year that I'm racing at these pictures, I also ran motocross, I also rode trials, and I also road race. And the road racing thing, now I could show you the footage from Road America, but because I just had the footage on the other day from Steamboat is in Colorado, I'm going to tell you a little story about Chip Larkby. Chip Larkby, who lived in Chicago, and I think he lived around Irving Park and Broadway, or Irving Park and Sheridan. He lived in an apartment building, a 3-story apartment building.
Yeah.
And he's working on his bikes in the garage, in the basement. Didn't have a garage even, and he just had a trailer, and So he was coming in 4 and 6, and he was going for a championship in Formula 2 class with a more modern bike than this he let me ride is TD3 250 Yamaha, which was maybe one of the bikes that changed road racing in the world. In 73, 74, well, 70 really, Yamaha started making a 250 race bike that people could go to the dealer and buy. They were based on the same bikes that they were racing in Europe in what was the Grand Prix series. So they were taking that same bike that they developed for the Grand Prix series in Europe and sold them here. So like if you went to Daytona at the beginning of the year, you had a TD3 250 and you were going to race the 250 race at Daytona, you could buy all your parts. Yamaha would be at Daytona with semi-trucks full of parts and give you a good discount on everything. So if you're going to race the whole season, you might want to buy 4 sets of pistons and 5 sets of rings, and so you could keep your 250 running. That's how important that TD3 250 was. So I was very happy that Chick would let me ride that bike. I mean, I was also running the weird stuff, and I was running 600cc motorcycles. And as I think back, how I did it, I have no idea. I have no idea how I did 10 races with Weir. So starting in 1995, when prior to 95, Dave Hendrickson, who I got together with at US Cable, and we started shooting with Betacam. Dave Hendrickson started race with me, I think in 92, 93, and we rode to Blackhawk Farms, we go to Grattan, we go to Road America, local tracks. Then I decided my first love with road racing was really endurance racing. So in 95, Dave Hendrickson and I did the first official endurance race. So I think in 95 we went to Grattan, and I think we went to Memphis. And I don't know if we went to the GNF. The GNF is the big deal at the end of the year at Road Atlanta. But that was the start. The 96, that was it. That's all we did, was run the Weir National Endurance Series with the Yamahas. And by putting that deal together with the Yamaha dealers that were buying the bikes, paying for the bikes, and Dunlop tires. I mean, I got Dunlop hat on. That's why I'm wearing it. They were, I mean, Race Tire Service, Steve Brubaker gave me the deal and gave me tires. So he would give me 2 rear tires and 1 front tire for every endurance race. So we were pretty well set for tires.
Yeah.
And they had contingency money for Dunlop where you could get more tires. So finally I was getting some support that I really needed, you know, between the Yamaha dealers and him. So, but the AHRMA thing, there'd be weekends that, because it was 10 races, and we would start in March and go all the way through October. So there were open weekends, and if I could fit in going to an AHRMA race, because the other thing, I'm doing a TV show.
Yeah.
So in reality, I have to have a new show every week. So the WERA would represent 20 or 21 TV shows. 10 races, I do 2 shows. Now if I did AHRMA, and I did 2 shows from each AHRMA race, and I throw in a couple off-road events. I mean, that's another thing I haven't really talked about, but I was also racing with Bill Gussie back then. So it seemed like every other weekend there was a race, you know, and you can talk to your cousin Brandon, he went to a lot of these races, and Taylor. By then, 97, 98, see, to run an endurance race, so let me compliment Taylor right now. Back then, before they had electronic transmitters that you kept on your bike, someone had to score you. So every time you did a lap, somebody had to write down what time you came across the line, and that's how they scored how many laps. That's how you got scored in an endurance race. And Taylor, at 7 and 8 years old, would come to the races with me, and she would sit there for 6 hours in the tower and score Team Chicago, and also maybe score another team, and they would pay her $30 to $40.
Oh wow.
So Taylor was always interested in going to the races with me, because she would pick up extra money, she would take care of that, and she got to travel the country. So it was, so that, I'm going to show you footage of Steamboat, and maybe I'll show you, let me see if I got the Road, if I got the Road America, America stuff on the TD3 because I think I did pretty good there. At Steamboat, either or, I might even show you footage from both. But that was sort of, tell you a little bit about Chick Larkby, a great guy, very important to what I was doing back then. I mean, like I said, we came up with some great TV shows. I mean, it was always a good deal. Now let's head back to Steamboat and we can watch Chip Larkby battle in the Battle of the Twins two-stroke class in the streets with AHRMA.
Swing back over, we're looking at the two strokes. It's Chip Larkby, and he's on that TD3, 250, 202 Racing, Chicago Psycho sponsored. Irving Sheridan Shell. He was going to ride his Aprilia, but he decided to ride his Yamaha. The Aprilia didn't start. And look how good he's doing. He's leading in Battle of the Twins two-stroke, and you can have more modern motorcycles in this class. To watch Chip Larkby on the Yamaha 202 Racing. He's still leading. He's on his 73 Yamaha. Right behind him looks like Dan Slattery and an 89 Yamaha TZ 250. He's probably got twice the horsepower, but Chip, I tell you, but he's had a lot of practice riding the streets of Chicago. So now he's riding in the streets in Steamboat. Oh, Dan Slattery has seized this high altitude. You have to be real careful. We had this bike seized earlier, but we fixed it and got it out on the racetrack. And there's a swan song that's being written. We thought Chip Larkby would go on the pickup.
At Steamboat, it was Dan Slattery with that 89 250 Yamaha, did get by Chip and went on to pick up the win. Chick finished second on that 73 DD3 250. And now we're at my favorite racetrack, Grattan Raceway, and I am riding Chip Larkby's 250 Yamaha race bike.
Next race we're going to look at is race Formula 500, and I'm out there on Chip Larkby's TD3 250 Yamaha as we head over to me on his 500 four-cylinder Honda is Albert Owens. In the meantime, Christopher Sprago on a 400 Yamaha. He's gone. He's leading. He's up front. Bob Newby's in second place as I try to get around his four-cylinder Honda. I'm on a 250 Yamaha two-stroke as we're battling for third place. Christopher Sprago's gone on the Yamaha. Second place, Bob Newby on the 350 Yamaha. As we come to turn 2, and that leads us to the off-camber. Downhill, turn 3. I tighten it up. Now we swing over turn 4, the sweeping right-hander that heads over to the Grattan hump. Stay on the gas. Over the hump. Downshift, upshift. I'll tell you, you got to really shift these two strokes to keep it in the power range. Now we're headed into the bowl as Larry Poons goes on to win 500 Premier. Jeff Ealing is second. John Cooper on the BSA third. That's in 500 Premier class. Christopher Sprago's up front in Formula 500. Bob Newby second as we battle for this third place. Coming through the bowl. And this uphill, boy, this Honda's really got some good horsepower. So get on the gas, make the good drive, because this is key. Make it a good drive out of this last corner. I tuck up, get right in the draft, stay in the draft for a few seconds and split out. and get by this 4-cylinder 500 Honda of Albert Owens, and I go on to take 3rd place in Formula 500 out here at Grattan Raceway at this AHRMA Vintage National.
That was always a fun bike to ride. I'm always grateful to Chip for letting me race that TD3 250. Now looking out the back with the Team Chicago helmet cam, this is the practice from Steamboat back in 1997.
They're running in the streets in this condominium complex. This two-stroke got some good acceleration down this one little straightaway down the street. Make this tough turn. 2 right-handers. Then we go sweeping uphill. First to the left. And then to the right. And behind me, and you had BMW that looks like Dr. Burke out of Michigan. It's out here having a good time, racing in the streets at Steamboat with AHRMA. And now we're coming to one corner that we made a hard left onto this major highway, but it sort of slowed down. And now I can accelerate. So we've got 4 lanes to work with. We brake for this right-hander under the bridge. Got the sweeping right-hander.
I have been blessed to be able to ride all these great road courses across the country. Now let's go back and continue my conversation with my granddaughter, Alyssa.
All right, so this is the WERA Grand National Final in 97.
Okay, so let me, 97, I think by 97, that's where the big change came. Dave Hendrickson was running public access for U.S. Cable. Then, Dean, it was Dean's last name. Dean's last name could have been Dean Pope. I might be wrong, I might be right. Dean Pope, or Dean for sure is the name, was running the video department for the Chicago Bears. And he got Dave Hendrickson over to the Chicago Bears. So now it's see, every football game, besides what's on TV, the teams themselves have to shoot 3 cameras the whole game. Mm-hmm. I think it's 2 end-line cameras and 1 50-yard line camera. And all they shoot is each play, not the huddle or nothing, just play, 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 play. Well, at the end of the day, that video, those 3 videotapes, beta tapes, were put on an airplane by that night. If it was a Sunday game, by Sunday night, them 3 pieces of video had to be on a plane going to the team that the Bears were playing the following week. Mm-hmm. So the team that they were going to play would have all their plays from this, and everybody, all NFL were doing it. These are things I didn't know about, and 90% of people don't know about.
Right.
And that's why I have hundreds, maybe 1,000 beta tapes with all my raw footage. Never bought a beta tape. They all came from the Chicago Bears. They're all old tapes, but we used them again. So I have all this raw footage also because of the Chicago Bears. But now Dave is offered his job with the Chicago Bears, and he don't want to get injured. If he got injured, and today, as I talk to you today, if you go to the Chicago Bears website, the man who's in charge of the video department at the Chicago Bears is Dave Hendrickson. And I see Dean is still working, but he didn't want that big job. Dave's got it. And I send him emails and he don't respond, so maybe he's too high up there to...
Yeah.
But anyhow, so what happened in 97, I believe, at least by 98 for sure, Steve Karson, who started hanging around with me in 87, 88 through Wade Weston, another guy I met over at Des Plaines Yamaha, he was racing, and when I introduced him, see to understand my racing, you got to understand 4 and 6 cycle. Without 4 and 6 cycle, I could not have done any of this road racing. It's way too technical. I mean, we've got very complex motors that have to be very well maintained if you're going to be racing endurance. I mean, if you're running 6 hours or 4 hours, you got to take them engines apart.
Yeah.
Steve Karson, I also introduced to Jimmy and Ed over at 4 and 6. Now, everybody I introduced over at 4 and 6 also brought something with them. Steve Karson installs fiber optic cables and communication cables. That was his trade. He's a union 399B guy or 399C guy. He was a union electrician doing communications. So at 4 and 6, he took care of their telephones. Put in all new phones, ran new phone lines, anything that Jim needed, electrical lines, Steve was there. So that's how Steve got his way in. Eventually, Steve is racing, he was running the Suzuki money. I mentioned the Suzuki money earlier, the contingency. So Steve had a 750 Suzuki. Well, in exchange for Steve doing their communication, Ed Hilton takes Steve under his arm and teaches him how to take Suzuki motors apart and put them back together again. And Steve was really seriously competitive in the Suzuki Cup stuff. I think he only had the 750, might have had 600, but I think he just had a 750. And he used to borrow my trailer and drive his Pinto with tools in the back, his bike on my trailer, and he traveled all over the place. So by 97, and Steve, I think at this time, got married Sandy. So it was almost natural for Dave to move out of the picture. Even though I was still using the Betacam, I still going to Lake Forest to edit my shows. Still involved having the equipment I needed. But Steve moved in and became part of Team Chicago. And I think 97 was the year that happened. So that's one thing about 97. But after that, 98 and that, it was Steve Karson and I racing. So, see what we got here. All right, so there's something I put together to show the schedule. And here's a picture of me leading the pack at Road Atlanta, but maybe I'm being laughed by everybody. Like I said, I don't pretend.
Yeah.
I've raced with some of the greatest racers in the world. I'm great friends with some of the greatest motorcycle racers that's ever lived. I mean, real good friends with a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I don't ever pretend to be Mr. Great Race. I mean, of all my races, there's probably 2 or 3 that I can really sort of remember where I really felt on the top of my game. All the other times I was struggling. Like I said, and I like repeating this, because this is, I should trademark this. This is something I have trademarked, or I should trademark it. But if someone wants to use it, you can use it. Just give me credit. Motorcycle racing is physical fitness, mental toughness, mechanical knowledge. So I'm pretty good at all 3 of them.
Right.
And I'm a proficient motorcycle racer.
Yeah.
All right, what's next? Oh, the pictures from 4 and 6. Talking about 4 and 6. So I'm going to show these different pictures. I don't know if I have video. I mean, I've done a lot of things in 4 and 6 as far as the dyno room. There's a picture of Steve and I posed with the 2 bikes behind 4 and 6, and the rest of the guys at 4 and 6. So this is like my other family. There's also a picture, I think, turn it one more time. I even had my own cubicle with my bikes in it. See it down there?
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had my own spot. That's when they were on Kedzie and Belmont. That was the biggest location they ever had. And there's another picture, and we'll end it right here. There's another picture of me at Road America on Chip Larkby's bike. But I think we're run out of time. I want to thank you again. Is this interesting? I mean, what do you...
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry that you were too young. That you.
I know. This is like the year I was born.
Right,
so.
right. All right. Well, we'll be back next week, and I think we'll continue on.
All right.
Thank you, Alyssa. And for more information on AHRMA, American Historic Racing Motorcycle Association, it's www.arma.org. For more information on Grattan Raceway, it's grattanracewaypark.com. To contact me, it's teamdan45@gmail.com. I love to hear from my audience. And remember, you can always search on YouTube with Dan Schmitt Motorcycle Racing for great motorcycle racing action.